The top stories. Ministry of Foreign Affairs says Ethiopia's Grand Dam will contribute for socio-economic development of riparian countries. Global Green Growth Initiative says Africa has the ability to realize industrialization without affecting the climate. And Rwanda introduces automated fare collection system for buses in the capital, Kigali. Hello and many thanks for joining us. I'm Tabitha John. This is the news from EBC. Ethiopia Ministry of Foreign Affairs says the Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Hydropower Dam contributes for socio-economic development of riparian countries. The Tripartite National Committee of Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan has concluded discussions on Wednesday, drafting guidelines for further activities for the consulting firms. Daniel Kasahun reports.
Briefing the local media over current affairs on Thursday, Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson said the Tripartite National Committee meeting of Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan has set directions for further activities for the consulting firm.
The water affairs ministers of Ethiopia, the Sudan and Egypt held very productive and constructive discussions. They have produced a draft guidance to be submitted to the main consultant.
Ethiopia is currently dealing with pending issues in consultation with downstream countries, the spokesperson indicated.
The three ministers of water affairs have discussed in depth on pending issues that were on the table from the discussions by members of the Tripartite National Committee of the three countries.
He added the Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Hydropower Dam provides opportunities for socio-economic development of riparian countries.
Ultimately, once the construction of the dam is completed, our neighboring countries, including Sudan and Egypt, would share the dividend.
Apart from this, the spokesperson briefed journalists on the latest developments in neighboring South Sudan and Somalia.
Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources says efforts are underway to scale up the cluster farming method across the country. Farmers in various parts of Amhara State are benefiting from the practice, as witnessed by the field visit of the Minister Dr. Iyasu Abraha on Wednesday. Shifara Ulako presents the story.
Ethiopia has introduced a cluster farming method as it enables a group of farmers to collaborate, thereby acquiring better produces. Farmers in West Gojam and Awi zones of Amhara State, already aware of the importance of the methods, are practicing the cluster farming model. A delegation led by Minister of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Dr. Iyasu Abraha, has paid a visit to the achievements registered so far in the areas.
The efforts underway to apply the cluster farming in West Gojam zone are considerable. The wheat and corn harvest produced in this method asserts the fact that the model is suitable and should be scaled up across the country.
The farmers in the area have called for better and broader market links and additional farming inputs for more achievements. The minister urged pertinent actors at all levels to practically answer the call.
We have clearly witnessed encouraging results on the field visit. We have also seen some limitations that need proper intervention. This is the responsibility of every actor at each level, from farmers up to the federal leadership. We all have shares for the solution.
As the backbone of its economy, Ethiopia has attached prime focus to agriculture.
Ethiopia and Germany reached accords to jointly combat terrorism and cross-border crimes. A delegation led by Sport Force Commander of German Police Public Order, Wolfgang Lohmann, has conferred with officials of Ethiopian Police Commission. The two parties have dwelt on ways of collaboration in capacity building and training, as well as fighting terrorism and cross-border crimes. Federal Police Commissioner General Asefa Abiyu said their discussions were relevant and fruitful in ensuring peace and security, as well as fending off terrorism. Meanwhile, Wolfgang Lohmann underscored that the two-sided discussions were instrumental, especially in facilitating information exchange to hunt down criminals fleeing their countries. A scholar from Columbia University says Ethiopia's move from famine-stricken country to the fastest-growing economy sets an example for other countries. A recent article published on the Economic Times narrates the country's success story in this regard. Sadat Mohamed Sani has looked into the report.
Niraj Khosla is a professor of social policy and a chair of the doctoral program at Columbia University. On a recent article she wrote on Economic Times, she analyzed the factors that transformed Ethiopia from famine-stricken country to one of the world's fastest-growing economies in a shorter period of time. The professor started by mentioning the country's drought incidents and how the country has managed to become world's fastest-growing economy with 10.8 average annual GDP growth for the past decade. Sound policies and strategies, sustainable peace and improved infrastructure are among the factors for the country to transform, Professor Khosla argues. According to the professor, the era of famine-induced deaths has ended in Ethiopia. She mentions how the recent drought, which has been the worst in 50 years, has been well managed by the country while maintaining 8.2% GDP growth. The road infrastructure that has been built throughout the length and breadth of the country makes it easier to transport grain and other input to drought-affected areas, says the professor. During her visit to Ethiopia earlier this month, Professor Khosla found out that fair labor price, inexpensive electricity, and non-corrupt leadership, business-friendly business climate are the driving forces behind the ever-increasing foreign direct investment flow to the country.
Afar state residents expressed commitment to fight religious extremism and ensure sustainable peace and security. Inter-Religious Council of Ethiopia and the Federal and Pastoralist Affairs Ministry have conducted a consulting forum at Logia town of Afar State. Bezawit Yul has more on that.
The forum, which brought together religious fathers, community leaders, local and federal administrative bodies from across the nation, was aimed at raising public awareness in fighting radicalism and religious extremism. The participants expressed commitment to work for sustainable peace and security, battling anti-peace forces in the area.
We are working with the administrative bodies and the faithful in fighting religious extremism and terrorism.
According to the Ministry of Federal and Pastoralist Affairs, such awareness-raising forums have shown encouraging results in mobilizing the public towards religious cooperation and tolerance.
Such religious forums are bearing tangible outcomes in the form of attitudinal changes. We are committed to further enhance such activities to bring about lasting solutions for problems related with religious extremism.
Participants have called on all stakes to properly discharge responsibilities to raise the public awareness on religious tolerance.
UNESCO-registered Konso cultural landscape is economically benefiting the youth in the area. This World Heritage Site is creating jobs for a huge number of youth as it lures more and more tourists every year. Konso cultural landscape is a 55 kilometers square arid property of stone-walled terraces and fortified settlements in the Konso highlands of Ethiopian southern state. It is a living cultural tradition existed for more than 400 years to adopt the dry, hostile environment. According to Southern State Culture and Tourism Bureau, the youth are generating income by guiding tourists and selling cultural antiques. The beneficiaries told Ethiopian news agency that they are preserving the heritage for the coming generations as their forefathers did. Tourist attraction sites in the southern state have created jobs for more than 70,000 citizens over the past 2 years. Moreover, tourism in the state generated close to 740 million birr on the last Ethiopian year. Director General of Global Green Growth Initiative says industrialization in Africa will be realized without affecting the climate. Global Green Growth Week 2017 is happening in Addis Ababa. Kifle Susabera reports.
The developed world majorly use coal, fuel and other similar energy sources in its industrialization. This contributed for various climate change-related challenges the present world is facing. According to the Global Green Growth Initiative, Africa's industrialization would be realized in different aspects safeguarding the environment.
Where economies have grown very rapidly, but almost all cities there grapple with toxic levels of air pollution. That you should avoid here. Of course, there are really good opportunities now to use renewable energy. We had sessions here that were all focused on unlocking the potential for green growth for Africa. And renewable energy will be a revolution for Africa, as important as the mobile phone 10 years ago.
In addition to averting climate change effects, the cheap energy sources will help to hasten Africa's development.
A few years ago, people talked about using clean energy instead of coal because it was better for the environment. Now renewable energy has become cheaper than coal. So it's good for the environment, but it's also in the interest of the economy. That's why we see it racing ahead.
He believes collaboration of governments and multilateral organizations is vital to realize the vision.
With government support, with green finance that we help bring about, and training young people to have those green jobs, I believe we can have this revolution support Africa.
The director also expressed his initiative's readiness to sustain supporting Africa's endeavors in the area.
Rwanda's capital Kigali has introduced a card-based automated fare collection system to help streamline the country's transport infrastructure and improve efficiency. The system, known as Tap and Go, has been adopted by the city's 3 bus operators, which cater thousands of commuters every day. Jerusalem Betsaha has more from Reuters.
The card-only system was developed by Rwanda's local technology startup EC Group, which specializes in smart transport solutions. All passengers should purchase an electronic card, which they top up as they go. Some commuters are still adjusted to the system, while others say they are enjoying the convenience.
I have this bus smart card, but it is better and easier to pay in cash. For example, people coming from outside of Kigali struggle to use these smart cards because they don't know where the cards are sold or where they can load them, so they find it easier to just pay cash. The cards are helpful and good compared to the previous system of paying in cash. The only problem is that there are not enough buses that use the prepaid system, but otherwise it is a good thing.
Some commuters have resisted using the new system, citing increased fares. A ticket for the traditional cash system costs 0.17 US cents compared to 0.29 with the Tap and Go card system. Some critics say the development has come at the expense of jobs, with minibus conductors using work. The Rwanda Federation of Transport Cooperatives, the biggest operator, laid off 500 conductors. CEO of EC Group says conductors who were laid off are in fact being absorbed back into the new system. Tap and Go is part of a technology derived in Kigali to promote a cashless economy as the country pushes to become a hub for information and communications technology in the region.
The part that people see is the payment part of it, which is very important, which allows people to securely carry their money and be able to use transport services in a very secure way and convenient. But what people don't see is the ability, the data that is collected throughout the process that allows for planning and be able to avoid things like traffic jams, plan a better public transport system used based on the information that is generated through the use of those kind of cards.
SC Group has also introduced the initiative in Cameroon and hopes to expand to other parts of Africa as well.
That's all we had for now. I'm Tabitha John. Thank you for watching. Have a good time.